Restoring is nothing but rebuilding, refurbishing, renewing. And I was led to talk about restore at this point because this is the time of year for many where you do begin to lose faith. You begin to lose steam. You begin to lose heart. And I wanted us to just talk about that there is a refreshing that can happen in seasons of restoration. Relationships are the first place you might want to think about restoring. In the work of being a teacher, you can't do it by yourself. I used to have a podcast with my good friend Chandra Joseph Lissette, and it was called Real Talk, Real Time Educators Forum. And we came together in the pandemic and supported teachers. And what we learned by us working together and then us creating space for others to come and talk to one another is that you cannot do this life by yourself, but you definitely cannot do this teacher life by yourself. In working with Chandra to help other teachers, I was helping myself. She was building herself. And so it's that idea of iron sharpening iron. We were able to do that one for another. While we don't still do our podcast, that relationship that we built with each other continues to grow because we're continuing to pour and feed and encourage and inspire one another to be great. I know one of the people in our community, she always says, be great. She tells that to her students. So please know that in this restoration season, start with relationships. I want you to think about the relationships that are so important. We have those familial relationships. That's the relationships with your family. It could start with your immediate family, your parents, your siblings, those who raised you, godparents, family that you're, born to, family that you acquired through relationship, through marriage, through living and growing up. Relationships you might have with people during seasons of your own form of restoration. Maybe it's with a surgeon. Maybe it's with a group that you go and see, your counselor, your therapist. Relationships with people that matter to you. I want you to think about the relationships you have with your colleagues. Take a moment and think about, how am I seen by my colleagues? Will my colleagues see me as the go-to person for help, the go-to person for support, the go-to person who's really knowledgeable, has experience, or maybe new and can help teach us some things that we don't know? Think about those relationships. How do your colleagues see you? Then I want you to think, how do you see your colleagues? Do you see them as petty, selfish, individualistic, not collaborative? The way we see the world sometimes impacts the way we move in the world. If you find that you have a colleague at work you can rely on, you can depend on, you trust, you are there for each other, that is fantastic. Is that relationship too linear? Is it too narrow? Are you blocking your blessings by not being in community with others? Consider in your relationships at work, we always want to have one person we can rely on. When you have to call in sick and you need someone to go in your room and get those plans or put the book that you want the sub to have on your desk. Everybody needs that person. But are you being too linear in that? Let's take it broader. Are there other people that maybe you are no longer in relationship with, and that is bothering you, or that is hindering you? Let this be the season of restoration. Let this be the season of restoration. Let this be the season of restoration where you will make the decision to be the person that maybe just starts by saying good morning. Maybe acknowledges the relationship is no longer where it is. Maybe it's you just pray for them and hope the best. Or maybe you ask to have a sit down with them so that you can begin anew with one another. Relationships are really important. Some of you are already in your testing season. Some of you are approaching your testing season. Don't try to do that by yourself. It's hard. And it's even harder if you do it alone. I am really excited about what new things will come for you in the relationships that you are going to restore. Maybe you need to restore your faith in others. Maybe you've been wronged. You felt like an outsider. You felt unseen. Maybe you're not sure how to engage with others. Maybe it might feel a little awkward. In some settings, you might seem a little awkward. Those are all realities. I remember growing up in college, having friends, and sometimes feeling like I don't measure up. I might not even be of their caliber. That was silly. But that still is how I felt at a little season when I was in college. But it doesn't mean that I had to stay there. So as we kind of bring this conversation for today to a close, just remember that we are in a season of restoration. Use this time of restoration to get back to thinking about where you are, where you need to be, and who are the players you need to renew and restore with. All right, y'all. That's all for today. Be well, be blessed, and I'll see you next time.